Palantir's going to rip here. All right. Hope springs eternal for tech bulls, trading at 27 bucks. Palantir erases 2 days of selling basically in an instant, though we did already bounce back up off of below $21 earlier this morning. So Palantir closed around 24 and is now adding on $3, takes us actually above the range from last week too. Like I said, it's a very expensive stock with a huge multiple on the forward earnings, but did just grow at 27% on the top line. So, I mean, Palantir is still definitely an engine of growth, and it seems any concern that maybe they were going to fall down the list of government customer priorities doesn't seem to be the case. Company just beat revenue by like 20 million, 678 million versus 652, which was the estimate. Seems like their outlook was also pretty darn good here. The street was looking for their outlook to get capped at 2.7 billion for revenue, and they're pushing that up to 2.75 kg. So that's a pretty decent little report.
Yeah, especially when you're kind of looking at that Q3 guide coming in between 697 million and 701 million. She was looking for 679 million. So this is actually a really good report, and it kind of shows the fact that the AI exposure that they have continues to grow, and they kind of highlight the strength that they are seeing in that segment, as well as the commercial side of their business. So I think this is actually a pretty decent relief for all the red that we saw on the screen here today, Oliver. And as you talked about, I mean, it's only 2 days of selling that it's really recovering right now, but you got to start somewhere, and I think that's really where a lot of these bulls within this name probably will find a little bit of comfort in.
Here we have the 4-hour price chart for Palantir Technologies Incorporated, stock ticker PLTR. So as we can see here, the reaction to this earnings report has been quite substantial, and the movement has been largely in the positive direction. If we zoom in a bit on this price chart, we can see that recent highs have come in at $28.36 per share. So currently this does break the prior resistance zone, which came in at 27.80. And this is a very encouraging movement from a technical perspective. As we can see here, the bounce here has been quite large. Prior price lows came in at 21.23, and these posted during the August 5th trading session. Perhaps what's most significant about this price move is the fact that we did break back above this support turned resistance level, which came in at 24.15. This was a significant price movement because if we failed to break above here, this could have signaled much lower prices here going forward. Another interesting factor to point out here is the fact that share prices have now gapped in 2 different directions. We can point to these price gaps here. Initially, we can see that there was a price gap showing to the downside, and now following this earnings report, we have a new price gap that has developed to the top side. For the most part, it might seem as though these price gaps sort of balance each other out and equalize each other, but this isn't really the case because at some point, this price gap is going to need to be filled. This entire price gap still has orders present within it that will need to be tripped at some point. So if we do start to fall back into this price gap, this could be a bit of a dangerous zone here to be trading within due to the fact that volatility levels tend to pick up when we're trading under these types of circumstances. Essentially, this would mean that if we do trade back below prior support levels, which came in at 25.57, we could see prices then revert back to this resistance turn support zone, which came in at roughly 24.30. Going forward, most of this activity does suggest that further upside price movements are possible, given the fact that the indicator reading on the 4-hour chart is still showing positive directional price movement. As long as this positive directional price movement continues, we can expect prices to most likely travel to the top side and retest prior resistance zones, which came in just ahead of the $30 mark. Overall, trading volumes do support these upside movements to the top side, given the fact that we have seen a surge in trading volumes as this two-way price action has occurred. As we can see here, some of this directional trading volume has shown in the negative direction. However, the fact that we are moving higher in the trading volume does bring validity to these price moves. And since the current price move is showing in the positive direction, this does suggest that the current bullish trend wave is valid in nature. Going forward, we would need to see a break back below this 23.20 price zone that now acts as support in order for us to reverse the bias lower. If that does become the case, we will be testing our prior support zone, which came at the triple bottom support level found at 2060. If we remember from prior trading videos, we have been pointing to this area on several different occasions because this did form the basis of the current trend wave higher. Finally, we'll just go back to the prior clip so that we can hear a few more points on the fundamental analysis for the latest earnings release, and then we'll come back with some final price movements on the price charts themselves.
Yeah, got to start somewhere. Scott Durfee, not a bad little place to try and maybe invigorate overnight traders.
Yeah, absolutely. And it could very well do that. We'll have to just kind of wait and see. Do remember, we are in the beginning of August. It is a little more thinly traded. So perhaps the movement wouldn't be as great as it would be otherwise. But we should definitely take a look.
Their operating profit up 88% over the past year. Kevin, I mean, that's going to help a lot. The valuation, too, for sure. It seemed like margins increased a ton. I mean, they're doing big stuff, improving the balance sheet.
Yeah, definitely. And also when you're looking at the U.S. commercial revenue, so that grew by around 55% on a year-over-year basis. And even if you're looking at quarter-over-quarter, that came in at 6%. Customer count, when you're looking at the commercial business, grew 83% year-over-year, 13% quarter-over-quarter. I mean, these are the type of numbers you really want to be able to see hit these healthy growth rates. The commercial remaining deal value, you can kind of look at that as maybe their backlog equivalent, if you will, grew 103% year-over-year, 11% quarter-over-quarter. They're getting deals, Oliver, and they're getting deals done, and it looks like they're able to deliver on those deals, and that's why you're seeing that showing up on the top line revenue. And even if you're looking at the government revenue, which is a little bit more cyclical in nature, is still relatively strong. So I think right now this company has been able to prove itself. There's a lot of skeptics out there around this name. Obviously, the forward multiple is very expensive, but if you're kind of looking at it from a price to sales standpoint with these type of growth rates, you could most likely kind of justify the fact that why it deserves a premium in this market, where a lot of their competitors probably are seeing a little bit more of a stagnant growth here in the near term.
Okay, yeah, good analysis. A pretty good number here. Bottom line, top line, does look good next to peers too. To your point, cloud group much more lackluster than hardware. I mean, this is kind of one of those earnings that almost looks like it would be attached more to kind of some of the more hardware style of outlooks we've gotten over the past year, where there's a clear uplift in some of the AI-driven demand. All right, so Palantir pretty good here.
Our High Value Trading Strategies membership is currently available for a limited time for only $9.99 per month. These high conviction investment strategies are characterized by superior risk to reward metrics that target massive market-beating returns over time. Join now to outperform the market. Lock in this special introductory rate of just $9.99 per month for the entire lifetime of your membership, and start trading stocks with the pros.